The constant increase in reported data breaches and other security-related incidents tends to prove that current practices in the areas of information security and data privacy management are basically ineffective. ISDP tool has been designed to overcome the common issues faced by organizations in those areas. It allows for the implementation of pragmatic, efficient IT risk management processes to improve the security posture of organizations, as well as their compliance with data privacy regulations, in particular the GDPR. In today's presentation, we are going to explore 3 of the most frequently observed challenges faced by organizations with regards to information security and data privacy management, which ISDP tool intends to address. Information security management is about protecting corporate assets. As their IT environment constantly evolves to support their digital transformation, one of the biggest challenges organizations struggle with is the implementation of efficient security assurance within their change management process. The inability of information security teams to follow up the pace at which IT environments transform is probably the top 1 root cause for security incidents. The uncontrolled integration of a new information system into an existing IT environment is likely to make it the weakest link in the security chain, from where vulnerabilities will be exploited sooner or later. What are the common issues faced by organizations trying to address the challenge of security assurance in their change management process? Unfortunately, the security assurance process in IT projects is not even formalized in many enterprises. When it exists, it is often limited to a high-level risk assessment based on generic checklists. The process is delegated to the project's stakeholders, who are in most cases no security specialists, and perceive it as an administrative burden, a necessary formality to pass a gate in the project. It is not rare either to see project managers trying to simply bypass the process, as they believe it may be a blocker and will delay their project time to market. If you want to assess how seriously information security is considered in an IT project, have a look at the planning. How much time is dedicated to security activities? What resources are booked to deliver those activities? In most cases, you will be surprised by the contradiction between the claimed will to consider cybersecurity as a top priority and the absence of related concrete actions. The methodology supported by ISDP tool has a clear focus on actively supporting IT projects and concretely implementing adequate security controls during a project's lifecycle, as information security does not occur magically. A second common challenge faced by organizations is their inability to actually assess their effective exposure to information security threats, even when they have implemented best practice risk management processes. Very often, they perform a high-level risk assessment, addressing a global view of the organization and its information systems. The risk treatment activities try then to propose and select common controls that are valid across the whole environment, but they lack the level of detail necessary to obtain an accurate picture of how individual assets are protected. When a detailed information security risk assessment exists, there is generally no correlation of the results with the high-level risk assessment process. Let us have a closer look at the common pitfalls affecting corporate information risk management. First of all, as the process lacks input from the field, risk evaluation is often biased, relying on purely subjective criteria, for instance, the likelihood factor of a risk, or the defined thresholds for risk acceptance. As a consequence, many companies experience significant discrepancies between their risk rankings and the actual security events they endure. Moreover, the risk managers may have a wrong perception of the threats they face. Nowadays, organizations tend to focus on cyber attacks, neglecting other types of adverse events like infrastructure breakdowns or unintentional behavior from trusted personnel. As there is not correlation between detailed field risk assessments and corporate risk management in many enterprises, there is no clear picture of real vulnerabilities and risky portions of the IT environment. This leads in general to inaccurate management reports, preventing the executive boards from making the right decisions. We will see how ISDP tool provides the missing link between detailed and high-level risk assessments for improved management reporting. The third current challenge we would like to highlight is the complexity of ensuring compliancy with the next-generation data privacy regulations, such as the European GDPR. GDPR includes multiple dimensions, which makes its implementation particularly tricky. Organizations need to ensure they respect some core principles when processing personal data. One of the most critical principles is ensuring transparency, that is, providing complete information to the data subjects about the processing activities that concern them, and about their various rights to. A prerequisite to GDPR compliance is to map personal data flows thoroughly. That includes inventorying personal data processed, internal and external recipients, processors, and data transfers. Another significant work stream within the regulation is the requirement to adequately protect personal information, to respect data retention periods and alert authorities as well as the data subjects in case of data breach. One of the common mistakes committed by companies working on data privacy compliancy is to assign this task to legal departments. Legal experts are surely fully competent to issue data privacy notices, but lack the necessary information security knowledge to efficiently tackle this challenge. In many cases, this organizational mistake leads to the elicitation of specific security requirements applicable to personal data, namely the so-called technical and organizational measures. Distinguishing the personal data protection processes from the regular information security processes creates an unnecessary duplication of efforts. In addition, organizations face difficulty to accurately perform their personal data inventory and map their personal data flows. The identification and sequencing of the necessary steps, as well as the elaboration of a GDPR compliancy roadmap, also prove problematic. ISDP tool associates the personal data protection and information security processes in a unique work stream, thus optimizing the corresponding workload. It allows for the creation and maintenance of records of processing activities, which inventory personal data processed within an organization and map related data flows. Producing the records of processing activities can be used as a pragmatic basis to determine the necessary tasks to improve GDPR compliancy. Thank you for your interest in this presentation. For further information about ISDP tool, watch the other videos about the solution, and use the contact@isdptool.com email address.